Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo and the flood corruption scandal. A tale of betrayal, accountability, and the fate of involved leaders. Floods have always been a recurring nightmare in the Philippines. Every rainy season, countless communities brace themselves for rising waters that destroy homes, livelihoods, and in the worst cases, lives. For decades, the public has demanded stronger infrastructure, efficient drainage systems, and a sustainable solution to what has become an annual crisis. Yet, despite billions of pesos allocated to flood control projects, little progress has been seen. In recent years, the issue took a darker turn when revelations surfaced linking Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo and other high-ranking officials to a massive corruption scandal surrounding flood control funds. What followed was a story of betrayal, investigations, and the eventual reckoning of those involved. The promises of flood control. The government has long promised to address the problem of flooding, particularly in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Large-scale projects such as drainage upgrades, pumping stations, and river dredging were announced with much fanfare. The Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, together with local government units and national agencies, assured citizens that flood control was a top priority. Roberto Bernardo, a seasoned bureaucrat, rose through the ranks and became an undersecretary with oversight over key infrastructure projects. With his reputation as a reliable technocrat, he was entrusted with ensuring that multi-billion peso flood control projects were implemented efficiently. To the public, he embodied competence. Behind the scenes, however, whispers of irregularities began to surface. The corruption scheme exposed. Investigations later revealed that a portion of the budget allocated for flood projects never reached their intended purpose. Instead, funds were allegedly diverted into overpriced contracts, ghost projects, and kickbacks shared among influential officials and favored contractors. Reports indicated that under Bernardo's watch, contracts for flood infrastructure were awarded to shell companies with ties to political patrons. Projects such as river widening, drainage repairs, and embankment reinforcements were either half-baked or not executed at all. In some cases, records showed completed projects on paper, while affected communities testified that no work had been done. The scandal broke wide open when whistleblowers from within the department and local contractors stepped forward. They provided documents, bank records, and testimonies implicating Bernardo and several other leaders in what was described as one of the largest misappropriations of disaster prevention funds in recent years. The human cost of corruption. What made the scandal particularly devastating was its direct impact on ordinary citizens. During a series of floods in low-lying communities, families lost their homes and evacuation centers were overwhelmed. Questions were immediately raised. Why were the flood systems still inadequate despite the massive funding? Why were canals clogged, pumps non-functional, and barriers poorly constructed? The answer, investigators claimed, lay in the corruption network that siphoned resources away from critical projects. Every peso pocketed by officials meant less concrete, fewer pumps, and weaker embankments. Costs borne by the public in the form of flooded streets, destroyed homes, and lost lives. Other leaders implicated. Bernardo was not alone in the scandal. The investigation implicated several local government officials, lawmakers, and bureaucrats who allegedly conspired to profit from the flood control budget. Some were accused of lobbying for favored contractors, while others received shares of the kickbacks in exchange for political support. Among the notable figures mentioned were local mayors and governors. Some were accused of certifying ghost projects or turning a blind eye to substandard work in their jurisdictions. Legislators. Certain lawmakers were said to have used their influence to insert projects into the budget, ensuring that contractors allied with them secured funding. Other DPWH officials. Colleagues within Bernardo's department were found to have participated in falsifying reports and inflating project costs. While not all those implicated were proven guilty, The scandal revealed a network of collusion between bureaucrats, politicians, and private contractors. Investigations and legal proceedings. The Office of the Ombudsman and the Commission on Audit, COA, launched thorough investigations, combing through years of records and contracts. COA reports showed glaring inconsistencies in project completion, inflated costs, and missing documentation. Bernardo was formally charged with graft, malversation of public funds, and violation of procurement laws. The Anti-Money Laundering Council, AMLC, also investigated suspicious bank accounts and properties allegedly linked to him and his associates. Some local leaders resigned under pressure, while others attempted to defend themselves by claiming ignorance or shifting blame. Several were suspended pending further investigation. In high-profile hearings, dramatic testimonies from whistleblowers painted a picture of systemic corruption, complete with coded language, cash deliveries, and political bargaining. The fate of the accused. The fallout was swift and far-reaching. Roberto Bernardo. After months of denial, Bernardo faced mounting evidence and was eventually arrested. His political career came to an end as the courts weighed charges against him. He became a symbol of betrayal for citizens who had once trusted him to safeguard flood prevention efforts. Local leaders. Some mayors and governors were suspended and later barred from holding public office. A few faced criminal charges, while others managed to escape conviction due to lack of direct evidence. Legislators. The political fallout was uneven. Some lawmakers implicated in the scandal lost re-election bids, while others managed to retain power, reflecting the deep entrenchment of political patronage. Contractors. Several firms blacklisted by the government faced bankruptcy, while their executives were charged with conspiracy to defraud the state. The scandal became a litmus test for the country's justice system, raising questions about whether accountability truly applied to both powerful politicians and bureaucrats. Public reaction. The scandal sparked outrage across the nation. Civil society groups, churches, and academic institutions condemned the betrayal of public trust. Social media erupted with anger, with hashtags calling for justice for flood victims and punishment for corrupt officials trending for weeks. Lessons and legacy. The Bernardo flood corruption scandal underscored several painful truths about governance in the Philippines. Systemic corruption. The scandal revealed how deeply entrenched corruption can be, stretching from national agencies to local governments. Call for reform. The scandal reignited calls for stricter auditing, transparency in procurement, and the use of technology to track project implementation. While the scandal tarnished Bernardo's name and ended his career, it also served as a wake-up call for the nation. It reminded the public that corruption is not an abstract issue. It has tangible, devastating consequences when funds meant for safety and survival are stolen.